All right, Chapter 6, Rear End Marking Devices, Passenger Commuter Freight Train, Part 221. Um, this regulation, first established and published in January 1977, reduced the risk of the rear end train collision. Regulation required at least one highly visible marker displayed at the train along the end of the passenger commuter of the freight train during specified times under the certain weather conditions. The requirements of regulations generally self-explanatory. The regulation applies to the railroad to appropriate more than one train at any given time on the standard gauge main track as part of the general railroad system of the transportation railroad that operates only the train consisting historically antiquated equipment for the excursion and educational recreational purposes of urban rapid transit operation non-connected with the general railroad system transportation are also included. In 1986, regulation was amended with the response to railroad operational changes, the elimination of the caboose, and development of newer technologies. The amended regulation. Railroads that use the personnel other than train crews to perform the rear marking devices inspection. Titles 49 Regulation Part 221-115. 221-15C, the railroads use the railroad telemetry in lieu of the conducting the visual observation. See the Title 49 CFR 2115D, the alternate procedure for the establishing working protection while performing the rear marking inspection of the main tracks. Title 49 CFR 221 16B, Part 221, Subpart A, General of the 221 application, except for the provided with the paragraph B of the section, the parts applied with the passenger commuted with the freight trains when operated as a standard gauge main track, which is part of the general railroad system of the transportation. This part does not apply with the railroad operates only with the transit consisting of the historical antiquated equipment and excursion educational recreational purposes. A train that operates only with the track installed with it, which is not part of the general railroad system of the transportation. 3. Railroad rapid transit operation in the urban area. They're not connected with the general railroad system of the transportation railroad that operates only one train at a given time. Guidance, paragraph B1 excludes the railroads only with operated with the trains consisting of the historical antique equipment in the railroad conducts with regular freight and passenger train services, and occasionally with operates train consisting of the historical antique equipment, and it would require they comply with the rule. Paragraph B4 applies with the railroad operating only with one train at the given time. It does not exclude trains operated with the railroad branch line. 215 definitions as used in this part of the train means the locomotive of the locomotive of the unit coupled with or without cars involved with the railroad operation conducted the main track. It does not include the yard movements. Guidance. The term yard movements is used in paragraph A. The reference to the movement of the on track of the movement of the equipment with the designated limits of the yard, including such a language of rules exclude the mode of the switching operation when performed solely with the compliance with the railroad yard. If, for example, the yard job of the locomotive is pulled out of the main track with the headroom only in order to make shove the rear of the train would be on the main track of the train would not require a marker if the train ended with the rail car makes it onto the main line outside the designated yard limits. The equipment becomes the train, or for the purpose of the Part 221, the requirements for the regulation would apply. 221.13 Market devices display. During the period described in paragraph B of the section, each of the train with its parts applied but they occupies but they operates with the main track of the shell being 1. Equipped with 2. Display of the train ended at the rear of the car train. 3. Continuously illuminate the flash of the marking device prescribed in the subpart. Unless equipped with the functional photoelectrical cell activation mechanism complying with the paragraph C of the section, the marking device that is prescribed with the subpart shall be illuminated continuously flashing during the period between 1 hour before sunset and 1 hour after sunrise. During the other hours, the weather conditions so strictly and at the end of the silhouette of the standard boxcars cannot be seen within a half mile of the tangent track of the person having 20/20 correct vision. The marking device prescribed with the part equipped with the function photoelectrical cell activation mechanism shall illuminate and flash the device continuously whenever the less than 1.0 candle per square meter of the ambient light. The centroid of the marking device must be located with a minimum of 40 inches above the top of the rail. Guidance. An operating rear end of the market device is required to display the rear end of the train operating with the occupying mainline track of the device during the period of restricted visibility and part of the train to the yard limits. Both the rear car of the train still occupies the main track of the market. The device was required to display it until at such time the rear of the car of the train no longer occupied the main track. Per 221.14c, the locomotive is operated singly at the rear of the train, including the rear of the light locomotive consists of the rear headlight of the locomotive illuminated with the low beam will satisfy the rear end of the marking device equipment. Alright, 215 market device inspection. Market device displayed with compliance with the part of the examined at each of the crew's point is examined to ensure the device is properly operating condition. The examination shall be accomplished earlier visually observing the device. The function leader is required with the device functioning when required. Either one, reposition activation switch, 2, covering the photoelectrical cell. C. The examination should be conducted either with the trained crew or some other qualified person, provided with the non-trained crew performs the examination. The person shall communicate his or her findings with the locomotive engineer with the new trained crew. When equipped with the radio telemetry capability, marker displayed in accordance with the part of the examined, observing the readout of the information displayed in the cabin control and locomotive, demonstrating the light functioning as required in lieu of the control visual observation guidance. Most, but not all, rear-end markers are equipped with the photoelectrical cell that will illuminate the marking of devices during reduced ambient light conditions. The device should be operated. Intended operation may be examined at each crew change point. Examination can be accomplished either visually when equipped with using the radio telemetry. Visual examination performed the personnel other than trained crew member assigned to the train. Resulting examination must be communicated with the locomotive engineer. Testing statute 221.16 inspection procedure. Prior to the operating activation switch covering the photoelectrical cell, when conducting the test, the non-trained crew person shall determine whether to be protected against the unexpected movement of the train under the procedure established in Part 218 of this chapter under the provision in paragraph B of this section. B. In order to establish the alternative means of the protection under the section, one train inspection should be standing on the main track. 2. The inspection shall be limited to the certainty that the markers in the proper operating condition. Prior to performing the inspection procedure, the inspector should personally contact the locomotive engineer. How this will be advised that the person that is occupying the cab of the control locomotive of the train will remain insecure against movement of the inspection be completed. Guidance section regulation procedure to establish protection of the non-trained crew members while performing the rear end of the market device examinations required with the statute 221.15a discussed above. The train standing on the main track of the task limited to the asserting of the proper operation of the device. Prior to the performing the inspection, non-trained crew members must personally contact the locomotive engineer positioned in the canopy of the control lab locomotive. Receive assurance that the locomotive engineering that the train will remain secure with the movement until the inspection is complete. However, the section is not applicable to the proper operation. The device can be ascertained without position non-trained crew member in danger of injury out due to the unexpected movement of the equipment without the trained crew having operated the activation switch of the cover of the photoelectrical cell while conducting the test. Finally, it becomes necessary for the railroad employee to perform the task ascertained for the proper operation of the device. The train is located on either the main track of the provision of subpart B. The Part 218 police signal protection workers would instead imply. Statute 221.17 movement of the defective equipment whenever the marking device is prescribed and part of because of the inoperative en route the train may be moved to the next forward location when marking device can be repaired and replaced. B. Defective rolling equipment, which becomes the nature of the defect, can be placed only at the rear of the traffic. The movement of the next forward location when the repairs can be made and needed does not be required with the marking device prescribed in part. When a portion of the part of the derail portable marking device is not available, the remainder of the train may be moved to the nearest terminal without being equipped with the marking device prescribed in this part. Guidance exemption of the railroad rules will maintain the sufficient number to approve the rear end and market devices on the system comply with the regulations of FRSA safety. Inspectors should be sufficiently familiar with each of the railroad operation with assigned inspection territories to determine the market device and maintain availability. The regulation allows the railroad to continue with the movement of the train experience of the market device and failure within route. The inoperative must be repaired or replaced at the next forward location when such replacement and repair can be made. Although most end of the train devices incorporated the rear market devices with the built-in with the end of the train with the separate regulatory requirements of the two devices that misinterpreted each of the devices accomplishes several functions. The rear end of the market increases the visibility of terms during the low ambient light condition of the end of the train transmit information ahead of the end of the train viva the radio elementary. Another distinction is all the trains required to have the operating rear end of the market devices during the specified low ambient light conditions. Not all trains are not required to be equipped with the end of the train. It is especially important to be familiar with the understanding the difference between in-route failure and requirements specified on both regulations of Part 232, Subpart E. Deficiency on recommendation for civil penalties shall reference the appropriation regulation for Part 221, rear end market devices, or Part 232, end of train devices. Alright, approved and rear-ended marketing devices. Part 1 is approved to test devices by manufacturer, Star Headlight Lantern, These are different ones. They're different companies. Guidance. Since the regulation was published, FRA has approved additional devices. The following supplemented listing of the current approved market devices: Allcom Products, American Electronics Incorporated, RE Ditz Company, GPS Electronics, Daylight Corporation, Donovan Associated, Dynamic Signs Unlimited, Federal Sign and Signal Company, General Electric, Rims Manufacturing, Illinois Central Golf, Julian Medurton Corp., Lytical Incorporated, Illuminator Division, and Matrix Railway Corporation. Power Ports, Pulse Electronics, Pit Pile National Quantum Engineering Incorporated, Railhead Corporation, Safe Products, Star Headlight Lantern Company, Translight Incorporated, Union Switch and Signal Incorporated, Utah Transit Authority, WebTech Railway Electronics, Whalen Engineering Company Incorporated. Chapter 7, Safety Glazing Locomotive Passenger Car Cabooses Part 223.